The House of European History is scheduled to open in 2016 as a Museum of European History. It is an initiative of the European Parliament, as a cultural institution and exhibition centre. The House of European History plans to marshal all available means to promote a better understanding of European history and European integration, through a permanent exhibition and temporary and travelling exhibitions. It will house a collection of objects and documents representative of European history, educational programs, cultural events and publications, as well as a wide range of online content. It will be located in Brussels, close to the European institutions. Genesis of the project. The idea of creating a House of European History was launched on 13 February 2007 by President Hans-Gert Pöttering in his inaugural speech as President of the European Parliament. One of the key objectives of the project was to enable Europeans of all generations to learn more about their own history and, by so doing, to contribute to a better understanding of the development of Europe, now and in the future. In October 2008, a committee of experts led by Professor Hans-Walter Hutter, the head of the House of the History of the Federal Republic of Germany, submitted a report entitled Conceptual Basis for a House of European History, which established the general concept and content of the project and outlined its institutional structure. In June 2009, Bureau of the European Parliament decided to assign the former Eastman Dental Hospital to the future museum and, in July, launched an international architectural competition. On 31 March 2011, the winning practice Atelier d'Architecture Chakes and Amp Morel et Associés, JSWD Architects and TPF was appointed to carry out the renovation and extension of the building, with the backing of an expert board which brings together internationally renowned specialists chaired by Professor Vladimir Zborodzia, a multidisciplinary team of professionals led by historian and curator Tajovik van Gaal was set up within the European Parliament's Directorate General for Communication to prepare the exhibitions and the structure of the future establishment. The content of the House of European History. The House of European History will give visitors the opportunity to learn about European historical processes and events, and engage in critical reflection about the implication of the processes on the present day. It will be a center for exhibitions, documentation and information which will place processes and events within a wider historical and critical context, bringing together and juxtaposing the contrasting historical experiences of European people. It is planned that the main focus of the permanent exhibition will be on European history of the 20th century and the history of European integration, with additional perspectives on the main historical processes of previous centuries. The aim is not simply to present summaries of national histories, but to look at important historical phenomena from a transnational and European perspective. The originality of the project lies, therefore, in the endeavor to convey a transnational overview of European history, while taking into account the diversity of European history and its many interpretations and perceptions. It aims to enable a wide public to understand recent history in the context of previous centuries that have marked and shaped ideas and values. In this way, the House aims to facilitate discussion and debate about Europe and the European Union. With a surface area of approximately 4,000 square meters at its disposal, the permanent exhibition will be the centerpiece of the House of European History. Using objects and documents and an extensive range of media, it will provide a journey through the history of Europe, principally that of the 20th century, with retrospectives on developments and events in earlier periods which were of particular significance for the whole continent. In this context, the history of European integration will be exhibited in all its uniqueness and with all its complexity. The house will be visitor-centered, wheelchair and pushchair friendly and open to all, in compliance with the European Parliament's policies relating to accessibility. To that end, its main offers will be presented in at least 24 languages, corresponding to the official languages of the European Union at the time of opening. Given that multilingualism is an expression of the cultural diversity of Europe, the House of European History wants its visitors to experience its multilingual exhibits and services as one of the institution's main assets. In December 2012, in the context of the Nobel Peace Prize awarded to the European Union, it was decided that the Nobel Medal and Diploma will form part of the permanent exhibition of the House of European History, as the first objects in its collection. Location: the Eastman Building, originally designed to house a dental clinic, was named after George Eastman, the American philanthropist and inventor of the Kodak camera. His generous donations allowed the creation of dental centers in New York, London, Rome, Paris, Brussels and Stockholm, dedicated to providing free dental care for disadvantaged children. In 1933, the Eastman Foundation approached the Swiss architect Michel Pollack, known for his Art Deco style and particularly the famous Residence Palace in Brussels, to design the new building. Inaugurated in 1935, the building is interesting both in terms of its engineering and its Art Deco elements. In the former children's waiting room there is a series of murals by the painter Camille Barthélémy illustrating La Fontaine's fables. The Leopold Park, containing a number of historic buildings such as the Pasteur Institute and the Solvay Library, was listed in 1976. The Eastman Building itself is not listed. The dental clinic closed its doors before the building was converted into offices for the European institutions in the 1980s. Estimated costs and funding: development phase 2011 to 2015, €31 million for the renovation and extension of the building, €21.4 million for the permanent and the first temporary exhibitions, and €3.75 million to build up the collection. The development costs will be borne by the European Parliament. Debate and polemics. Since its initial conception, the House of European History project has been controversial, especially in the UK. The alleged attempt to find a single unifying narrative of the histories of 27 disparate member states has been criticised by the British think tank Civitas, saying the House of European History can achieve nothing but a disingenuous paradox, aiming to tell the history of all the 27 states, but in fact relating no history at all. There are disagreements over basic facts of history, like the facts surrounding World War II or the role of the United States in post-war Europe. This is why some MEPs, including Polish MEP Adam Bilan, have criticized the project. More than the museum's contents, the museum's costs have come under fire. The costs were accused of having more than doubled. The project's initial £58 million cost estimate were accused to have more than doubled to £137 million. Furthermore, others have criticized the spending in times of recession, like the UKIP MEP Marta Andreasen is quoted as saying, "It defies both belief and logic that in this age of austerity MEPs have the vast sums of money to fund this grossly narcissistic project." Implementation and management of the project. created on the initiative of the European Parliament. The House of European History relies on a number of bodies and structures for its implementation. The Board of Trustees, chaired by former President of the European Parliament, Mr. Hans-Gert Pöttering, is a body comprising high-level politicians and personalities of great experience, which also brings together the European institutions and the Brussels authorities. It supervises the general management of the project and is advised by former Secretary-General, Mr. Harold Roma. Its members are Vicomte Etienne d'Avignon, Professor, Place Vladimir Zborodzia, Miguel Angel Martinez, Gerard Wunster, Doris Pack, Chrysula Pagliadelli, Professor, Hans Walter Hutter, Charles Piquet, Alain Lamassoure, Wojciech Rostkowski, Peter Sutherland, Andrew Vasilio, Diana Wallace, and Francis Wirtz. The Academic Committee, chaired by the historian Professor Place Vladimir Zborodzia and comprising historians and professionals from internationally renowned museums, plays a monitoring and advisory role on historical and museological transcription issues. Its members are Professor Norman Davies, Hans Walter Hutter, Professor Matti Klingup, Miguel Angel Martinez, Anita Meinart, Hélène Miard Delacroix, Mary Michailidou, Hans-Gert Pöttering, Antonio Reis, Maria Schmidt, Jean-Pierre Verdier, Professor Henk Wessing and Professor D.D.R. Oliver Rathkolb. The academic team, led by historian and curator Tajovik van Gaal, is responsible for preparing the exhibitions and the structure of the future museum. In March 2011, the group Ateliers Chakes and Amp Morel, JSWD Architekten and TPF won the architectural competition to extend and renovate the Eastman building. Since October 2011, the academic team has been assisted in its work by the designer Arnaud Deckel from Studio DM. The company BL Associates provided assistance on the preparation of the museography. On the 26th of March 2013, the European Parliament signed a contract with General de Producciones y Diseño, a museum design company based in Seville, Spain.